All right, Steelers fans, are you ready for the 2018 season? It's upon us.
Yeah.
We're going to go through the wins and losses for the year. We try to gauge it. And joining us is our special guest, the very funny, the very talented, Chiseled Adonis.
What's up?
Welcome, man.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate being here. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm the diligent, vigilant, meticulous, sagacious, conscientious, analytical, methodical individual, the Chiseled Adonis, #1 Steelers fan in the world, if you didn't know.
All right. Yeah, I see you got the Antonio Brown jersey on. I think you're ready for a big year. Madden curse. Is it going to hit Antonio Brown?
No, I don't think it will. I think it was broken after, what was it, Tom Brady was on there? Something like that. Somebody got on there and broke the curse a couple of years ago, maybe even last year. He did get hurt in training camp last week, but apparently it's not anything serious, so I'm hoping he's all right.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be a good year for Antonio Brown there.
Now, is it going to be a good year for Le'Veon Bell? Will he even touch the field this year?
I mean, that's the biggest headline this
Talk us through that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think we're not going to see him until I would say the week before the first game of the season, or I should say the first week of the first game of the season, because I don't expect him to show up during training camp at all or play in any of the preseason games. But I'm hoping they get the deal done. From last I remember, he didn't sign the franchise tag. So I'm hoping he doesn't do what he said he was going to do and retire and not play. So I'm hoping to see him. If not, I'll give him a call myself. He probably won't pick up the phone, but I'll try to reach out and see if I can get him on the field.
Yeah, I think that's what he did. This pretty much the same thing last year. He showed up about a week prior to the season starting.
Yep.
And man, he's a big part of that offense. So I hopefully he does good, man. I don't want him. It's gonna be weird seeing him if he does leave. It's gonna be weird seeing him in another jersey. I'll tell you that.
Sure is, man.
Yeah, that's the absolute fact. I just hope he doesn't end up on the Browns or something, so we got to see him 2 times a year. That's going to suck. But most likely, if he does end up leaving, which I hope doesn't happen, I have a feeling he's going to end up in Oakland or something like that.
That's what I've been saying.
Think his praises for the longest.
Yeah, that's Josh has been saying that all offseason, ever since this whole not paying Le'Veon Bell came out. You know, he's been saying Oakland.
He's going to go Oakland. Why? Gruden wants his ass.
Oh, yeah, Gruden loves him.
All right, so before we get into this 2018 season, Sports Fury Nation, if you haven't already, I'm pretty sure there's only maybe 1 or 2 out there within the nation. Where can they go find you, Chiseled Adonis?
Well, I'm on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, Snapchat, and Pornhub. Coming to Twitch, many different websites as well. Daily Motion, I'm probably going to have a Vimeo up. Everything is at Chiseled Adonis. Except on Twitch, it's the Chiseled Adonis. But I'll have everything. I'll send it to you so you can link it.
All right, absolutely. Yeah. And all those links will be in the description box down below. Yeah. So you make sure to go follow Chiseled Adonis.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into the 2018 season. And we're going to kick things off week 1. Pittsburgh on the road at Cleveland. Cleveland, you know, everybody knows all the moves that they've been making. They've had a couple of good years in draft and free agency. But is there any way Cleveland could take you guys out here at home in week 1?
Well, if the Steelers don't show up, they'll get the win by forfeit. If they pull up, if they get off the bus in Cleveland, it is an automatic W. I will say Cleveland is looking promising this year. I do believe they will triple their win total of last year. And not only just end with 0, I think they're going to get maybe between 0 to 1, maybe 3 wins if they're very lucky. I like Baker Mayfield. I like what I saw in the season debut, but they don't got no chance against the Steelers. It's over for them. I'd say it's not going to be a blowout, but it's a 2-touchdown W. Probably about 31-17.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think Pittsburgh is going to win this easily.
Yeah, I do like Cleveland. I think they're up and coming, but I still think they're a couple years away.
Not there yet.
No, not there yet, but I like what they're doing, but Pittsburgh's offense is just going to be a little bit too much for them. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, Pittsburgh, definitely.
All right, moving on to week 2. Pittsburgh at home. Their home opener against the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah. Patrick Mahomes coming in there. Their defense is looking a little shaky, I think. How do you see this one playing out?
Well, the way I saw it is when I look at the real estate in Pittsburgh, they happen to own Kansas City. So there's no way that they're going to walk in there and get the W. On top of that, Mahomes, I don't know if their first game is going to be on the road or at home. So this might be one of his first, or it is one of his first trips on the road. And playing in Pittsburgh, they're a different team where they're at home. So I don't know how that offense is going to fare. Defensively, if Le'Veon Bell is on the field, they can never stop this man. And nobody is guarding Antonio Brown. Marcus Peters left and went to the Rams. So who's going to be guarding the best receiver in the game? The offense is going to thrash him. I don't see this being a close game at all. Last year, they did have an opportunity to make it a close game, but this year, that's not going to be the case. I think Steelers win by 3 touchdowns in this one.
Yeah, I don't see anybody in the secondary stopping Antonio Brown. I mean, even with
Kendall Fuller?
Yeah, Kendall Fuller. No,
definitely not. The only guy on the secondary I like is still Eric Berry.
Yeah.
Right? But that's if he stays healthy. Hopefully he does, but
Juju Smith-Schuster. It's just going to be way too much. And then you already mentioned Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah.
I got Pittsburgh winning this one.
There's nothing else to say, Pittsburgh. Yeah, it's too much for a rookie quarterback. Pretty much a rookie quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. First-year starter. So, yeah, I'm going to go Pittsburgh.
I have a feeling he's going to end up having to hand the ball off a lot to Kareem Hunt.
Yeah.
And Kareem Hunt did look good last year, but it was isolated games. It wasn't like he was coming through every single game to get 80 yards, 90 yards. It was one of those, either I had 150 this week or I had 170 this week, and the other weeks I'm looking at 30 yards, 40 yards, 50 yards. So if he's not coming in hot, consistent with the ball carrying, I don't see how Mahomes to Tyreek Hill or Mahomes to Kelsey is going to win them the game.
That's true. That's very true. I had him in fantasy, so I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Very inconsistent. He finished great overall, but he was very inconsistent. That's very true.
Hell yeah. All right, heading into week 3, what could be a Monday night massacre. We'll be streaming for this one. Pittsburgh on the road against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh, God. What is there to say about this one?
How you see this one playing out? 4 touchdown game?
See, no, I tell you the truth, I don't think this one's going to be a blow. I think this one will be a close game. Because the last time Pittsburgh played Tampa, in Tampa, I remember I was in college. They ended up losing that game, and I think they went to overtime. So I don't know what it is. When Tampa plays at home in prime time, they always seem to play well. Defensively for Pittsburgh, I don't know if Hayden's going to be up to the challenge to guard Mike Evans for the entire game. But he is still a good, I'd say, tier 2 cornerback. So I think he can get it done for the most part. But I see Evans getting to the end zone a couple of times. But they're going to be one-dimensional. So if they cannot block for Jameis Winston, matter of fact, no, he's not even playing.
He's suspended.
Yes. Who's going to be coming in? Ryan Fitzpatrick?
Ryan Fitzpatrick,
yeah.
Oh, man. So that's it. Yeah, he throws a lot of picks. So hopefully we can catch him. If we can catch some, then we can make it a Monday night massacre.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh happens to play down to competition for some apparent reason. So I think this one might be a close game, similar to what happened last year against Green Bay and Brett Hundley. So I think this one could be is going to be decided in the 4th quarter. But I think Pittsburgh comes out. It's going to be a close game. I say 1 possession.
Okay.
Oh, I have it a massacre. I'm not. Yeah, could it be? Maybe Pittsburgh comes in there, takes them a little lightly. If Pittsburgh plays to their potential, no way Tampa has a chance.
Yeah, I agree. If they play to their
Pittsburgh, quite a bit last year played down to their competition, like with my Chicago Bears. I'm a Bears fan, by the way. That week, hey, we were at that game in Chicago. I couldn't believe what the hell happened.
We both were like, Bears have no chance in this game, and that was crazy. Went to overtime, too.
Yeah.
While I was watching that game. When Tariq Cohen returned the punt, put a touchdown, and luckily it got called back just to have Howard go and score anyway. Yeah. The blocked extra point that ended up getting stripped right before he went into the 2-point safety. Just so much stuff was going on in that game. The national anthem protest at the beginning, throwing everybody else off. It was a whole clusterfuck of stuff going on. But you got with the W.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was crazy. That was a crazy game. But yeah, could it be that same situation? Oh man, I can't see it though. I can't see it.
Yeah,
we'll never know.
We'll go with we're all unanimous. Pittsburgh's gonna win this one, nonetheless. Now heading into week 4, division rivalry game, Sunday night football. Pittsburgh Steelers at home hosting the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
Chiseled Adonis, what's going on in this one?
Oh man, Baltimore's always tough. Baltimore is always tough. Yeah. It's one of those games that you know is going to go down to the last possession.
Yep.
I'm biased on this case. And on top of that, we're at home. So I believe Pittsburgh will be able to pull it off, start the season 4-0. Now, the question on the Ravens side is, they're going to roll with Flacco, but for how long? Because I'm wondering if Flacco is going to be looking over his shoulder for Lamar Jackson, or if they're going to be all in on Flacco. Because the way they've been going in the media is talking about the Baltimore Ravens is it's a matter of time before Lamar takes the job.
Yep.
So if Flacco's not playing up to par and they do a quarterback switch, I think Pittsburgh will be able to pull off the W because the team isn't going to be accustomed to be switching from quarterbacks. But if they're rolling with Flacco and they play the way that I usually see them playing, it's going to come down to the final possession. And the Baltimore defense got to show up like they always do because last year they hung up 39 points against Pittsburgh, and they allowed 39 points. So if that happens again, I don't see their offense this year putting up the same production as last year. So I see Pittsburgh winning this game, but it's going to be a grinder. I think it's going to come down to the last possession. Whoever has the ball last, they win the game.
Yeah, and then so I got Pittsburgh winning this one as well.
Yeah,
I mean
these games. It's going to be a tough one though. These divisional games, man. Baltimore, Pittsburgh always have some classic ones.
Yep.
I do like that. I think Joe Flacco could possibly make it a good game just because he's finally got some tight ends, and we know he does a lot. He does pretty well when he has
running
a good
game.
tight end.
Alex Collins.
So
that's
it's
not good too. Because you saw what he did with Dennis Pitta. So he was doing
exactly.
Hayden Hurst.
So they can get it done now. But I'm hoping on their case, at least not against us, but I'm hoping they're able to make the with Alex Collins in the backfield. I hope they're able to get him going so he can start the season the way he finished last year. Because if they got themselves a running back offensively, they can make stuff happen. But hopefully it doesn't happen against the Steelers.
Hell yeah. But yeah, like you said, it's going to be a really good game.
Yeah.
We're going to be streaming for that, so everybody watching right now, be sure to tune in for our live play-by-play and commentary of that game. It's going to be a great time.
Are we all 4-0 with the Steelers right now?
Yeah, they're undefeated right now.
Oh,
they're still undefeated.
Oh, snap. Oh, they're going into a tough one now, though.
Here's another tough game. Week 5, still at home. Pittsburgh Steelers hosting the Atlanta Falcons. This is a team that has very little holes talent-wise on their roster. Thing is, offensively, the play calling by Sarkisian was just absolutely terrible all year last year. Their red zone efficiency was absolute garbage. But can he turn that around this year? I got to see it to believe it. So I'm going with Pittsburgh Steelers edging out the win here against Atlanta. What do you think?
I agree with you because after Kyle Shanahan left, you saw how the offense flowed better with him than they did last year. And on top of that, it really comes down to how they balance their offense. Because I have a feeling they're probably going to come in there and be pass heavy, try to get the ball to Julio, knowing the situation in the secondary. But if they hand the ball off to Devontae Freeman, they give the ball to Tevin Coleman, or I'm not even sure if Coleman's still there. I think he's still there.
Yeah, he's
still there.
Still there. So if they're able to hand the ball off and they get the ground game going, I think this could be trouble for Pittsburgh. Because defensively, I don't see them being able to consistently stop the Falcons. But on the defensive side for the Falcons, I don't see a situation in which they're able to stop the Pittsburgh offense. I think this is going to be a shootout. And them playing at home, Pittsburgh being at home, we know how Atlanta is on the road. Yeah. So they're two different teams when they're at home versus on the road. Simply because they're on the road, I'm giving the edge to Pittsburgh. But I think this one's going to be a straight-up shootout. I think it's going to be in the 40s, high 30s, or low 40s.
Ooh, so if you got anybody in fantasy, daily fantasy, you want to get in on this game.
You know, I was going back and forth on this one, man. I'm going to give Sarkisian the benefit of the doubt. I think he might get it going. But I'm giving Steelers the edge because it's at home. But I do like the Falcons. I think they could win this game. But I feel like Big Ben started off a little slow last year in the beginning of the season. I don't think he's going to do that this year. That's another reason why I'm going to give the Steelers the edge because Mason Rudolph is on right there behind him. You know he's getting a little bit more pumped up this year. Last year going into the season, he was like, I might retire. I don't know. Now this offseason, he's been all in, right? So I think he's got more motivation now. I think he's good to go. And I think they should be able to edge this out.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be a great game.
It's
going to be a great game. All right, heading into week 6. Pittsburgh on the road against the Cincinnati Bengals
game.
In their first matchup of the year. Chiseled Adonis. What's going on in this one?
Now, the Bengals are always tough. Although it does, in the win column, you always see them end up beating, or I should say the Bengals end up losing to the Steelers. But in this case, I don't know why, but I think the Bengals might pull off the upset here.
Whoa.
I don't know. I think they could be is you come off a 3-game stretch where you got 3 tough games,
Yeah.
and now you're going to Cincinnati against players that you see twice a year, you happen to always own, but for some apparent reason, I think they're going to be able to get it done. Whether it's going to be a Mixon having a coming out party on the ground, or AJ Green having himself a good game. I don't know why, but I think this might be a low-scoring game, and Cincinnati's able to steal one in the fourth quarter.
Okay,
I
yeah,
am
kind of like a trap game.
But I think Cincinnati might be able to steal a game here. This is a trap game for sure.
Gotcha. Yeah, could be because y'all are coming off. Y'all are red hot. I think 5-0 as of right now for all of us. So yeah, it could be a trap game. Interesting.
Yep. I'm gonna agree with you and say that Bengals are gonna get this win here, and yeah, for the exact same reasons, man. I think now, spoiler alert, I think this is gonna be a split series, and I think the second matchup will be much more important for Pittsburgh, but I think the Bengals can get it here at home.
I actually have the Steelers still winning here. It could be a trap game. I 100% agree. I'm not big on the Bengals this year. I'm not. I get a lot of hate for that, but I'm just not. I know they've improved their offensive line a little bit with Billy Price and Cordy Glenn. I think it is they got.
Yep.
But I don't know. Their
Joe
defense
Mixon
is just, to me.
Joe Mixon, I think, is going to have a breakout season this year.
I think
I believe
that's definitely true.
But with Cincinnati, I think they're not going to have a good season, but they're going to have a series of games, isolated games, where they play very well and up to par. Defensively, they're what they were a couple years back. Offensively, I think they're going to do very well. I think they're going to average about maybe a little bit under 20 points per game, a little bit, give or take, maybe here or there. I think AJ Green might have the best season he's ever had. Andy Dalton might go back to the Pro Bowl, but I don't know. This game, it feels like a trap game, but their season, I don't see the Bengals going back to the playoff. Not yet. They just need pieces for Marvin.
Yeah, exactly. I was just gonna say that the problem with a big problem with Cincinnati is the fact that they're so stagnant when it comes to the coaching, just mediocrity all around. That is something they absolutely need to move on with, and until that happens, I think their ceiling is not very high.
No, I just don't like. I could see this trap game. Like I said, I just don't think they can keep up with the Steelers offense. So. I got Steelers winning this before the bye week.
Yeah. Now heading into week 7 is a bye week towards like the middle of the season, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah.
And heading out of the bye week, Pittsburgh's at home with their second matchup of the year with the Cleveland Browns. And for me, this is absolutely a win.
Oh, yeah. I think this one's going to be a thrashing. It's not going to be like week 1 because you're coming off a bye week. More importantly, you're coming off a loss that you shouldn't have lost, but you possibly did. So seeing Cleveland, and the Cleveland at this point, usually every single season, this is the change of the quarterback sort of situation because we don't know who's going to be starting yet. We don't know if it's going to be Baker. We don't know if it's going to be Tyrod. They got somebody else there, but they're not going to be on the field. I think it's just between Baker and Tyrod. So depending on what their quarterback play is, this can be a changing of the guard at quarterback. On the in the backfield, who's their running back now? Is it Chubb that they have?
Nick Chubb, Carlos Hyde, and Duke Johnson Jr.
I have a feeling it's going to be Hyde who's starting. I think it's because he had a good solid season he had in San Francisco. So depending on if he can stay healthy though, but if you bring in Chubb, now you got a rookie running back there. You don't know how he's going to perform.
Right.
In the receiver position, they stacked that receiver. They got some great receivers there, but will the offensive line be able to hold the time for the quarterback to get the ball out of their hands, especially having a healthy Pittsburgh coming off a bye. Joe Thomas is guarding the left tackle spot anymore. So if they can't block those edge rushes, they're going to be in trouble. I think this is going to be a blowout, maybe 4 touchdown differential between this team here.
Yeah, I feel like if Cleveland would have been able to play y'all later in the year at home, they played y'all already at home for week 1. I think that got the short end of the stick. I think they probably could have split the series if they would have played y'all at home later in the season. But this, coming off a bye week, they just got the short end of the stick. I think it's going to be just like you said. It's going to be a demolishing. I think Pittsburgh, y'all got a veteran coach, Mike Tomlin, veteran quarterback. Y'all know how to prepare coming out of a bye week. Y'all know who y'all's opponent is for 2 weeks. So y'all are good. Yeah, it's going to be a good game.
All right.
For Steelers.
Now, heading into week 9, another divisional game. Second matchup between Pittsburgh and Baltimore. This time it's on the road. How do you see this one playing out?
They're going to get this win because they're going to beat Baltimore here. And although it is on the road and playing in M&T Bank Stadium is always tough, this might be the same situation for Baltimore. Now, I don't know if they're going to be coming off the bye themselves at this point, but given, like I said, for the week, what was it, 3 matchup or week 4 matchup? Week four. Yeah, this could be one of those. If they didn't change the quarterback before, at this point, you're at the midway of the season. Depending on what their win-loss record is, they'll depend on that'll dictate how the quarterback situation is or how they'll go about winning games. Because at the same time, I didn't mention it in the week 4 matchup, but with John Harbaugh, I think this might be his last. Like, he's on the hot seat now because Baltimore hasn't been to the playoffs for some time. They had issues with Flacco. Then you bring in Lamar Jackson. If they can't win up until halfway mark of the season, I don't think they're going to fire him midway through the season, but they're going to start to feel the pressure. So if they're going to play frantic and they're going to play off edge, as Baltimore usually plays, this can be an issue here. So I think they might end up losing this game. But again, it's going to come down to the last possession.
Right, and exactly right. I think this will be a very close game. Last matchup, I had Pittsburgh edging out the win there.
Yep.
I have Baltimore split in the series here at home and coming out with, I'd say, winning by a field goal. A Justin Tucker field goal right here.
50-yard.
Probably hit a couple of those on us.
Yeah.
Justin Tucker, man, he's an awesome guy. He's a funny dude too. I like Justin Tucker. But
I'm here too. So yeah.
He doesn't miss field goals like Nick Folk, right?
Oh, not at all. Not at all. His head is always up. Nick Folk, on the other hand, you know where his head is at.
Exactly. I love that part of your videos. No, I got Baltimore winning this one. I got a split series. I think Baltimore is one of those teams that I don't feel like they're there yet, but they're going to be able to compete with teams, and they might be able to pull it off. It's in Baltimore, so these divisional games are always tough. So I got Baltimore here.
All right. So we got Baltimore. Chisel's got Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Now heading into week 10.
A short week.
Thursday night football. Pittsburgh hosting the Carolina Panthers coming out of the NFC.
Yeah.
Sean will be streaming this game. I'll be at work. So do you guys get this win here at home on Thursday?
At home on Thursday. Pittsburgh always happens to play well at home, especially on Thursday. I don't know why that is, because last year they played a perfect game against Tennessee. But Carolina coming in defensively, they're still suffering from the woes of losing to Josh Normans and the other guys that they had on the defensive front after their Super Bowl run. So I don't think they're going to be able to contain the Pittsburgh offense. But surprisingly, I think the Carolina offense is going to thrash the defense of the Steelers. So this one, I'm not going to call it a trap game because Carolina's a playoff contender year in and year out. But I think this could come down to the last possession, and I do believe Pittsburgh will win, but I wouldn't be surprised if Carolina comes in and takes that W.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a Thursday night game. You never know. Thursday games we see always are crazy. They're close. They're blowouts when they should be close. You never know what might happen. But I do have y'all winning. But I wouldn't be surprised if Carolina comes in and upsets it. But it's all going to be on Cam.
Yeah, I'm questioning their rush defense going into this year with the Carolina Panthers. And as long as Le'Veon Bell's there, Pittsburgh can take care of business right here at home on Thursday.
Keep Cam Newton off the field, run the ball.
Yeah.
And, this is week 10, so, he should be good. He should be on
a roll. And not let Cam Newton get out of the pocket.
Exactly.
Because if he starts to use his legs, we're in trouble. Well, I should say the whole league is in trouble. If he gets out of the pocket, it's not going to look good. And McCaffrey is starting to get it. And he's been showing it on the field tail end of the season, the playoff game against the Saints. He looked phenomenal. So they can get stuff done. They're able to score points. They just got to be able to finish. Yeah. If they get in the red zone and they can finish in the end zone, they're going to be giving a terror to everybody in the league, especially in that NFC South.
And I also got to say, I also like the addition of C.J. Anderson for them. I think he makes a good combo with Christian McCaffrey.
Oh, yeah. C.J., I think, was I don't know. Like, it was weird in Denver. I feel like he
wasn't utilized right.
Yeah, he was a lot better than they made him look.
Yeah, probably when he had Riley Hillman and Peyton was calling the plays, you can see how great Anderson was when it was just, it was Osweiler, and then they had Simeon and Lynch, all the other guys who couldn't really get the formations down to give him the plays needed. you could see he began to struggle. So maybe since you got somebody else alongside him, you got another speedster who can catch out of the backfield. He can just play his role rather than have him be a complete back like they tried to make him.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, we'll see how that works out.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
Now, man, week 11, Pittsburgh, Sunday Night Football on the road against the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is a team, for some reason, just gives y'all trouble, man.
Yeah.
Can you guys go into Jacksonville and get this win and tell Jacksonville Jaguars, hey, you guys don't own us. Can you guys get this win?
I believe they will, and I think the Steelers are going to win in convincing fashion. And let me tell you why.
Okay.
Because last year, there was this whole illusion of Blake Bortles trying to look like he was elite, but that wasn't the case. Because even the first game when Jacksonville came into Pittsburgh and thrashed us 30-9, and there was 5 interceptions by Ben, there was a misconception about how that game went. Because outside of Fournette having that 90-yard touchdown at the end of the game, which it didn't really matter, but it still happened, that it was already out of reach right there. Offensively, Jacksonville couldn't move the ball against the terrible Pittsburgh defense at that time. And on top of that, the calling of Todd Haley cost them that game. Because coming into that game in week 5 last year, Jacksonville had the worst run defense in the league. They were 32nd. And Pittsburgh, Todd Haley only called the ball to be in Le'Veon's hands 15 times. So he ended the game with about 15 carries for 47. It didn't make any sense. Yeah. He did not get the touches he was supposed to be getting. And later on down the line, you saw him get 30 touches or 32 touches. So that's what should have been happening. In the playoff game, Pittsburgh had Jacksonville's number offensively because they were the number 1 defense in the league, and they hung 42 points on them. But defensively, they couldn't stop a soul. So I think this year, and on top of that, I don't see Blake Bortles doing the same sort of success that he had last year. He's not going to be able to get away with it. And he's lost Allen Robinson. Although he didn't play last year, that was a big number 1 receiver that they had.
Yep.
They lost Allen Hurns. Mercedes Lewis isn't there anymore. Although he wasn't on the field like that, he was a vocal leader in the locker room, so he's not there anymore. So offensively, I don't see Jacksonville being able to just hang on the talents of Leonard Fournette to get him into the end zone a couple of times. It's not going to go down like that. I think Pittsburgh wins this game by 2 scores.
Oh, man. Well,
Jackson.
Damn, that's a take right there. See, I'm going Jacksonville. I'm going Jacksonville here at home. I think this is going to be the number 1 defense in 2018. I mean, this is reminiscent to that Broncos defense that won that Super Bowl, the Seattle Legion of Boom, going back to the 2000 Ravens. My 85 Bears, this team is defensively is just on that other level. And as long as now Blake Bortles, if he can just play mediocre, just decent, hand that ball off to Leonard Fournette, move them chains, let the defense do their job. They can get. I can see them getting another win here. Now, but you made a lot of great points, and I hope this is a much closer game. And we're gonna be streaming for this.
It's a Sunday Night Football.
It's gonna be great. But what do you got? All right, so he's got Pittsburgh. I got Jacksonville. You're a tiebreaker.
Man, I was going back and forth on this because they had your number last year. They're the only team that's beaten y'all 2 times in Heinz Field in one season. They did it back I don't know how many years ago. Last time they were in the playoffs, and then this time. Yeah. But I think that I'm gonna side with you. I'm gonna go Steelers. I had Jacksonville, but you know what? I feel like if it was maybe Jacksonville, I think maybe a little bit too cocky, and they might be a little too high. Like, oh yeah, we got them. But I think Steelers are like, you know what? You beat us at home. We're gonna come into your house and win. And I think y'all gonna take care of business. And I do like y'all's offense. I do. And I think losing some pieces like Allen Hurns, I'm gonna see which Blake Bortles are we gonna get? Every other year he's either decent or he's terrible. So this is that other year where he's usually terrible. So I don't think they can keep up with the Steelers offense, and I got Steelers winning.
All right, and this is gonna be one of the premier matchups for me of the year.
Oh, yeah.
Antonio Brown, Jalen Ramsey, which is my favorite corner in the league. Yeah. I can't wait.
Awesome.
Can't wait.
Awesome matchups.
All right, heading into week 12, Pittsburgh on the road against the Denver Broncos. They don't have the worst quarterback in the league like they did last year. They're running with Paxton Lynch, who I don't think should even be in the damn NFL
They
anymore.
still have one of the worst head coaches, though.
Yeah, Vance Joseph is still a shitty coach, but their defense, it's still there. And adding Bradley Chubb, that pass rush is going to be really damn good. And with Case Keenum, I think he brings them much more stability than what they had last year. But nonetheless, I think Pittsburgh goes on the road and takes care of Denver because Vance Joseph, I think, is just a terrible head coach, and I don't think he can game plan at all. And if you guys watch the first preseason of the Broncos, it's still apparent this guy is terrible. What do you think?
He's a bona fide coordinator. That's what he needs to do. Just work as a coordinator. It's similar to Marvin
Lewis.
Marvin Lewis. He just needs to be a coordinator. Rex Ryan, the same thing. They're great coordinators. They don't really correlate to be good coaches. But of this game against Denver, I think the same thing. I feel that Pittsburgh goes in there, they take care of business, get this W. Because in the Broncos' case, losing to leave at corner, you still do have Harris there.
Yeah.
But Harris can't guard Antonio Brown. Last time when he was played against them in I think it was their Super Bowl year, he was coming in, ain't allow a touchdown in 2 years, and Antonio came in, dropped 16 catches, I think 180-some yards on him with 2 touchdowns. So I know he can't check him. And then Juju on the other end, Talib's not there anymore, so I don't think anybody's going to be able to guard Juju there. But like you said, their pass rush is probably going to be at the top of the league. So if Pittsburgh's offensive line, which is also at the top of the league as well, if they can make that a game, I think it's going to be one within the intermediate areas, the short yardage to intermediate areas. And if Le'Veon Bell gets going on the ground, the game's over because Denver's pass rush is great. Their run defense, not so much.
Yep.
So we'll see how things play out. But I think this W.
Yeah, we saw that in the first preseason game. Denver's defense could not stop a run to save their lives. Now, this one, though, I think is going to be a close game through 3 quarters. And then the fourth quarter is when the Steelers pull away. Denver, only reason I think it's going to be close is because in the first 3 quarters, we know Big Ben, his niche is that he always holds onto the ball a little bit too long sometimes. Even when he has the time in the pocket, he hold onto the ball a little bit too long. And I think Von Miller and Bradley Chubb might get to him early in the game. But then they're going to make adjustments at halftime. They're gonna work out those kinks. Big Ben's going to realize, I just got to give the ball to Le'Veon Bell. I got to get the ball out of my hands. And they're going to pull it away in the fourth quarter. But this is going to be a close one, and it's in Mile High, so that's always a tough place to play, especially late in the year.
Yeah.
But I got Pittsburgh.
Altitude. It's always
exactly. But I got Pittsburgh winning this one.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, heading to Week 13, Pittsburgh at home, Heinz Field, playing against the Los Angeles Chargers, a team that I think could still be one of the best in the AFC despite losing Jason Verrett, despite losing Hunter Henry. They're still a really well-balanced team. How do you feel about this game?
This game, I think the Chargers will be able to come away with the W. And I think this might be one of those games in which Pittsburgh gets punched in the mouth. So I think this could be a 2-score victory for the Chargers, or maybe even a 3-score victory for the Chargers. Because the Chargers have always been one of these teams where I always sing their praises, but either they can't finish in the clutch or injuries destroy their season. Because we've seen it over the last 5 years. You had Woodhead ended up getting hurt. Allen got hurt. Phillip Rivers played through a ton of injuries. Their offensive line has constantly been riddled with injury. Defensively, they've had issues with people staying on the field. But last year, you saw when they were somewhat healthy and towards the tail end of the season, they were the hottest team in the NFL. So if they can start the way that they finished the season last year, I think this will be one of those teams that'll be a surprise 10-2, 11-1, 9-3 down the stretch going into December. So I think they're going to be able to pull off this win because I think Keenan Allen's going to have a great game. But coming out of the backfield, I think they're going to be able to run the ball effectively against Pittsburgh because I think this is going to be played in November. So Pittsburgh plays all right, but in November is usually one of those, it's the time when they end up dropping games that they should be winning. So I think they're going to be able to go in there and get the W.
Sean?
Man, the Chargers, I am high on the Chargers just like you are, man. They have the talent. They were the number 1 passing team last year, surprisingly, even with their offense line issues. But I still have Pittsburgh winning this because it's in Pittsburgh late in the year. I think they're a Cali team, man. Going into Pittsburgh in the cold weather and late in the year, I think that's going to slow it down a little bit. But it's going to be, I think it's going to be one of those games where it could be a high scoring game and it's going to be going back and forth.
I mean, just going to be a hell of a game. I mean, Antonio Brown, Keenan Allen, those two of the best wide receivers. You got Le'Veon Bell, you got Melvin Gordon, Phillip Rivers duking it out with Big Ben coming out of the same draft. Now, if this was earlier in the year, I think Pittsburgh would absolutely kill the Chargers because they start off the year absolutely horrible. But late in the year, they're on point. Week 13, I think they get a road win here, so I'm going to agree with you.
I'll be the odd man out. That's fine.
Heading into Week 14, Pittsburgh is on the road against the Oakland Raiders. And
this is Sunday Night Football.
Sunday Night Football.
Yeah.
I think this is a win for me. Easy win. What do you think?
I think Pittsburgh gets this W no problem. I don't think Oakland's going to be able to stop them. Defensively, Oakland has made some moves, but you saw the issues they had with their secondary last year. They didn't catch an interception until the 11th week of the season. So if they can't pick off the ball at all, let alone cover, because their pass defense wasn't that great either. So I think Reggie Nelson may still be playing safety for him. I don't know if they ended up letting him go, but he's getting up there in age. They had their number one corner that they drafted last year. He got hurt. Yeah, he's back now, but I don't think he's going to be able to guard the likes of Antonio Brown.
No.
So I think Pittsburgh's going to get an easy W here. And their offense for Oakland is going to be, I guess, a revenge game for Martavis Bryant. But I don't know if he's going to be able to do anything against the Pittsburgh defense. You still got Jordy out there along with they got another
Amari Cooper. Yeah.
And Martavis with Derek Carr slinging the ball. Then you got Marshawn Lynch back there. So offensively, I think Oakland's going to do well. But defensively, they won't be able to stop Pittsburgh at all. So I think it might be one of those games where it's about 42-35 or 42-32. So I think they're going to be able to score points, but Pittsburgh gets this W no problem.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you said, their secondary is so weak, and Oakland did nothing to address that during the offseason, which was so strange. And then Amari Cooper, can he catch passes this year? Can he be consistent? Can he prove to be the guy? There's no Michael Crabtree there to be that security blanket for Derek Carr, because Jordy Nelson, I mean, it wouldn't be crazy to say that he doesn't last until week 14. I mean, this is a guy who's coming off of injuries. And then Marshawn Lynch, same thing with him, and Doug Martin. These guys are injury prone themselves here late in their careers. So
I forgot about Doug Martin. Yeah, that guy's always off the field.
Yeah.
And in Jordy's case, we only saw Jordy excel when Rodgers is the quarterback.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because when Huntley came in, he always struggled. When that year that Flynn came in for the last 2 games of the season, Jordy struggled there too. So we don't know if he's a Rodgers system guy or actually an elite receiver. So I don't know how Oakland's offense is going to mesh. So, yeah, I still, like you said, they're going to go in there. They're going to struggle, especially on their secondary side. They haven't addressed it. So,
Sean?
I'm going to be crazy and say Oakland wins. Now, not because they're better, not because that y'all are wrong. I think y'all are 100% right. I think this is a trap game. I think this is one of those games late in the year that right now I have y'all winning 4 straight, right? I had y'all lose to Baltimore in week 9, and then y'all have gone winning 4 straight. I think y'all are high. Y'all coming off I picked y'all to beat the Chargers. I know y'all picked them to lose. I think y'all are coming off a huge win. Y'all are going to be so pumped up, and I think y'all go on the road and just kind of. These are one of those games that you see sometimes the Steelers put up a dud like they did against Chicago, right? And I feel like that's going to be one of the teams that they underperform. They play down, and Derek Carr is still a great quarterback. Just a couple years ago, he was phenomenal. And
should have won the MVP.
Yeah, I think that Oakland might just be able to pull off a crazy upset on prime time. And I don't know why I chose the Raiders, so don't ask me why.
All right. Now, heading into Week 15, Pittsburgh at home against the New England Patriots.
Oh, we already know what happened last year.
This is a marquee matchup right here. Should be primetime.
Yep.
But what do you got? What do you think goes down in this one? Can you guys beat New England here at home?
I believe they can. Now, will they? that is left to be seen.
Yeah.
But I think this year, I feel like every year I have to end up saying this is the year we beat the Patriots. But last year you saw it. Tom Brady didn't play well. They couldn't run the ball.
Yeah.
The only passing option was Gronkowski, and Pittsburgh's pass defense really sucked up until that point.
Yeah.
So they've been able to figure out how to isolate the Patriot offense. And on top of that, this has got to be one of the worst receiving corps that Tom Brady has had in some years. Because you do bring in somebody like an Eric Decker, but can he really perform and stay on the field? Because he's been having a ton of issues here and there, whether it was in Tennessee, when he was in New York, and when he was on the tail end of him being in Denver. So we don't know if he's going to be on the field. Edelman's going to be back, so he always plays well. Yes. But is Gronk going to be on the field? Is Gronk going to be off the field? And defensively, with the Patriots, I don't know if they're going to be able to play to the same par that they did down the stretch last year. I think Pittsburgh offensively, they just give the ball to Le'Veon Bell. I think they're going to be able to destroy the Patriots front line. I don't think it's going to be one of those blowout games. Yeah. It's going to come down to the last possession like you saw last year. But hopefully the officials are on their game and Pittsburgh comes away with the W. Because last year was, oh, man.
Yeah, see, I'm going to go with New England. As much as that pains me to say.
Okay.
I'm going with the Evil Empire and getting this win here in Pittsburgh. I think it's going to be such a close game.
Yeah.
And, I'm going with Tom Brady.
See, last year y'all should have won, right? It was that Jesse James.
Oh, yeah.
Catch. That now, according to the rule, it's a catch. That would have been a touchdown, and y'all would have won.
Yep.
And you know what? I still think the Steelers are a little bitter. And I think they're going to come out at home and beat New England Patriots. I think you pretty much covered it, man.
I would love for you guys to beat the Patriots.
Their defense, I think, they were not that great last year. They gave a lot of yardage. They were great in the red zone. But I think this year, losing Malcolm Butler really hurts. I think losing Dion Lewis, losing Danny Amendola, losing a lot of depth. And their offensive line is a lot worse. Cameron Fleming and Nate Soldier left. So I'm looking at this, and I'm like, T.J. Watt? He had a great year last year for a rookie. I think he might get to Tom Brady. And if you could get pressure on Tom Brady, that's his Achilles heel. We've seen that every time. And I think Steelers can finally beat the New England Patriots. I hope so.
That would be cool.
Last year in the Pittsburgh game against them, you did see the front seven was able to get to Brady. They didn't sack him much, but he was so uncomfortable in the pocket to where at the end of the game, if they had the stack for pressures, it would have been one of those higher percentage games where you saw a lot of pressure gets to Brady. Because a lot of people get the misconception that, you have to go out there and just sack Tom Brady left and right. That's not the case. If you get the pressure on him, then you're able to stop him. With the Giants' Super Bowls against him, they weren't high in sacks, but they were pressuring him every single play. Yep. So if the Pittsburgh Steelers are able to replicate that same sort of defensive game plan, I think the Patriots are going to be in for a whole world of hurt. I just hope this year, instead of the ending of last year, I just hope this year it's a definite W.
Yeah, and how is this not prime time? I don't. It's an afternoon game, but I don't understand how this is not a Sunday night, Monday night game.
Yeah, exactly. It's always great between these two teams.
For some apparent reason, I don't know why. Whenever it's this matchup, or they have other late year or premier matchups, they always put it at the afternoon slot because I guess the majority of the country is able to see it. Because of the isolate, they like to isolate the games around. So if you're on the West Coast, you're probably the only people missing the game. So it's very odd. I don't know why they do that. It should have been prime time.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
This is another game that should be prime time. Week 16, Pittsburgh on the road against the New Orleans Saints. Now, I'm going to say it. I think the Saints are going to get this win here in New Orleans because I think the Saints are not just a great team, but they're going to be a desperate team here in Week 16 because the NFC is just entirely stacked. Not only do they need this win to get the division, you're talking about playoff seeding. This might be the only way to get into the playoffs is win that division, which I think is going to be a tight race between them, the Panthers, and the Falcons. And I think a desperate Saints team is going to get the win here at home. What do you think?
Well, I agree because the Saints playing at home are completely different than the Saints playing on the road. See, had they been coming to Pittsburgh, I would have had a different opinion. But them playing at New Orleans, and getting that run game going with Ingram, getting it done with Kamara, especially the Pittsburgh's issue. One of their biggest problems is guarding those running backs who can catch out of the backfield. You saw it 2 years ago with Ezekiel Elliott having that 83-yard catch out of the backfield. So
I remember.
think Kamara's going to have a hell of a game.
Mhm.
Mike Thomas is out there proving that he's probably one of the better receivers in the league. And defensively, this is the first time that the Saints have had a defense, or I should say the last 2 years have been the first time they had a defense since the Super Bowl year. So it's going to be a very tough game because they've got a complete team. I've actually picked the Saints to be one of the other teams to make it to the NFC Championship. So I think they're going to be able to go out there and get that W. I think Pittsburgh drops this here. I don't think they get punched in the mouth, but I think it's one of the tough games that just end in a victory for the opposing team. So I think the Saints are going to win the game here.
Yeah, I think we're all going to be unanimous on the Saints. I don't just have them fighting for the division. I have them fighting for the number 1 or number 2 seed here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think they're all around. I don't think I've ever seen Drew Brees have a running game like this in his whole career. So I mean, maybe when he had LT in San Diego all those years ago, but I just love this.
Defense did very well.
Yeah, the defense did really well. Let's see if they can maintain it this whole year. But I like the Saints here, especially at home. Yeah, you're right. If it would have been in Pittsburgh, it might have been a different story. But yeah, in New Orleans, man, that's a win.
Yeah, I'm happy you said that about Drew Brees having that running game because a lot of people, they don't recognize what he's had to deal with over the past couple of years because he was throwing the ball at like the highest percentage in the league regarding attempts. Last year was probably his lowest attempts. I don't think it was of his career, but probably his lowest attempts ever in his time and tenure in New Orleans. So if they handing the ball off to Ingram, handing it off to Kamara, and he's just able to hang out and then start to give the ball out to different guys, I think they're going to have a hell of a season. Like you said, I do agree with you that they're going to be competing for the number 1 seed, number 2 seed, the first round bye. So it's really up to them to see how they come in playing going into week, 16 at this point?
Yeah.
So I do see them getting the W here, but it's a very interesting fact. They got themselves a hell of an offense and defense now.
Oh, yeah. That's still going to be a great game either way. It's going to be a great game to watch.
All right, heading into week 17 to end the season is the Steelers at home against the Cincinnati Bengals. And as I mentioned earlier, I think these teams split. Pittsburgh getting this win here at home to end the year. You think?
I agree. I think they're going to get this W here for sure. No problem. Depending on what the situation in the AFC is, because the past 2 years, when Pittsburgh had the division clinched and they had their play, whether it's a first round bye or if they were going to play in the wild card, they sat Big Ben, Antonio Brown, and Le'Veon. On top of that, it is the Bengals, so you don't want to risk playing one of your stars and all of a sudden Burfict hits somebody in the knee. You're going for the playoffs. So I don't want to have that happen. So it really depends on where Pittsburgh is in the shuffle. I do believe they'll have either they'll have the division clinched at this point, depending on how Baltimore plays out, or they'll have to be competing for the first round bye. But if that's the case, then maybe the Bengals can get the W. But I think the backups are more than enough to defeat the Bengals. So I think there's a W for the Steelers, no problem.
I'm actually picking the Bengals because of the simple fact is that I think, like you said, there might be resting their starters. I think I have y'all locking up the first seed already in the AFC. I think y'all are going to be the top team in the AFC. I think y'all already locked it. Y'all have already clinched that. There's no reason to take a chance of getting Big Ben hurt or any of these guys. And I think at this point, the Bengals, they still have A.J. Green and these guys, so I still think they could probably beat the backups. But yeah, I got Pittsburgh already clinched. There's no reason to play anybody. I got Bengals winning this just because of default of that.
Okay. All right, so that's it. That's from weeks 1 through 17. The Pittsburgh Steelers, I have 10-6 as of right now. I think actually that's going to be my floor, 10-6. I think that's the worst they could possibly be. And I think they have an upside of 13-3. With getting a win in Jacksonville, I think they could do that. I think they could beat the Chargers. And I think it's possible they could sweep the Bengals. So 10-6 to 13-3 is for me.
Yeah, I have the Steelers 12-4. Like I said, I have them number 1 in the AFC, but I could see them even having 14 game wins because Bengals easily week 17. I picked the crazy upset with Oakland, so yeah, that definitely they don't lose to Oakland there. They could be 14-2. So it's like I think like you said, maybe 10, 11 games is their floor. But I have y'all 12-4 right now.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd say my floor is 11-5 would be the floor for them. I don't think they'll have a situation in which they don't win
Yep.
11 games. Like sometimes Mike Tomlin teams do play down to competition, but
Yep.
when they play those tough teams, they always excel. So I think they're going to win at least 11 games, and I think their ceiling will probably be 14-2. I want to say 15-1 so bad, but I don't think they're going to be able to get that done because Pittsburgh, the past couple of years, they've had a lot of runs, whether it's 6-game winning streak, 7-game winning streak. At the tail end of 2 years ago, they won 10 straight games, including the playoff game. Last year, they had a 7-game, 8-game winning streak. So it really comes down to how they're playing when they get on a run. So
Yeah.
I think the bye week will determine. So I think it's between 11-5 and 14-2. But most likely, I think it's going to fall around the same as 13-3 like they had last year.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so that's our thoughts. Everyone in the comment section, let us know what you think of the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. What do you have their record? And, I mean, we all have them win the division for sure.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
Yeah, just let us know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And once again, it was such a pleasure having you on the show, Chiseled Adonis. It was a great show. Thank you, man, so much.
And thanks for having me. I appreciate being able to talk sports. As much as I love the Pittsburgh Steelers, I love football first. I'm a Steelers fan second. I'm a football fan first. So any opportunity I can talk about the game, I love it.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, man. That's how we feel here at the Sports Fairy, man. Just all about football, man. It's always so much fun, and the season's right around the corner. I'm so excited.
Hell yeah! And once again, you'll find the links to where you can follow Chiseled Adonis everywhere in the description box down below. Once again, go follow him, and we'll see you guys in the 2018 season. Good luck to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.